Welcome back, and tonight I'm going to be going through some questions and answers I've been getting over on my TikTok, which is also Marking the Cloud. So first question is it still worth getting into cloud/DevOps in 2024? Short answer to that is absolutely. Now everyone or all the companies tend to be moving anything out of the data center that still exists out of a data center and into a cloud platform such as Amazon Web Services or Microsoft Azure. There are others out there, but they are the main two players, and so learning skills around that and how to use infrastructure in the cloud and the services they provide, in particular the managed services, is absolutely key to modern technology roles. Whether you're a software engineer, cloud engineer, you want to work in DevOps, infrastructure, all of that stuff, you absolutely need to understand what it is that they do, how to set stuff up, what products are on offer, and how to use those. So the next question is, do you need to know Terraform for cloud roles? Again, the answer to this should be obvious now, but it is yes. So Terraform is a tool that allows you to write configuration code, which is called HashiCorp configuration language, and it's its own code basically, which allows you to stand up infrastructure in a number of cloud providers. The last time I checked, there were hundreds and hundreds of cloud providers, potentially even running into the thousands now. And so if you wanted to stand up some new infrastructure in any of the major cloud providers and even the minor ones, you could configure it in this HashiCorp configuration language known as Terraform, and you could use that to create the servers for you. So there's a bit of setup required. You need an account with the provider, and then you need an API key usually. And what you'll do is you set that up on your local machine, you'll write out the Terraform code, and then you'll do a Terraform plan, which would then read your configuration language, and assuming it's fine, it will then make a call to the API of the particular provider you're using, and it will cross-reference any existing infrastructure you've got there in a Terraform state file, and then basically play back to you what it thinks it should be doing, or what it plans to be doing. So hence the Terraform plan. And so what that will do, say you're trying to stand up a new virtual machine, it will go off and it will check if there's an existing state file, and if there isn't, it will say, okay, we're going to create this brand new. Now if you were to create that manually in the console of any of the providers and anything went wrong, then it's really difficult to get back to that particular state without writing down exactly what you've done. So the reason Terraform is so powerful is because it allows for reproducibility, reusability. So you write the code once, you run it, you stand up your infrastructure, and then if anything happens to that account or that infrastructure, you can run the exact same code and you're going to get exactly the same resources, which is super handy from a DevOps perspective. And for cloud and platform engineering roles, you just need to know how to write that stuff yourself, because usually you're going to be responsible for standing up the infrastructure for the services that you're developing. So this next question is kind of to do with my course. How long should you spend on each topic? And that is kind of open-ended, but basically the way I've written it is to roughly last 12 weeks, okay? So a week approximately on each one. However, some of them are more theory-based than others. Stuff like the Python is going to probably take you best part of a couple of weeks to really get a good grounding on it. And then beyond that, you just need to practice. So each topic on my roadmap, of which there are 10 or 11, you should spend at least a week, and that is a week of like 20-hour weeks we're talking. So if you can put 20-25 hours into each topic, you will be in a much better place. But honestly, the end of the project is, which I'm just about to finish writing, is about building a project that you can store on GitHub, and it's through building projects yourselves and troubleshooting the issues that you come across, which really is where you get your learning from. So you can learn all of the theory behind it, you can code along with the examples that I've given, but all you're doing really is copying and absorbing what I've done. When you go to build your own thing, you're going to get stuck, it's going to get frustrating, and that is where you really kind of earn your way into this career. It is through trial and error, searching the Google search results when you've got an error to figure out what it means, reading the documentation, reading Stack Overflow, and not just copying and pasting responses on Stack Overflow, but just trying to understand them and doing more reading. And So yeah, whilst I've put a rough 12-week guideline, it could take as long as you want it to. The more you do it, the more you practice, the more often you practice, the easier it's going to be when it comes to getting your first role. Okay, here's a good question I get quite often. Do you need to be a good programmer to work in DevOps? Now, you don't need to be a super Python developer. And I say Python because that's the most common scripting language you're going to use as a DevOps engineer. But you do need to know the fundamentals, so you need to understand data types, how to obviously run Python locally, how to install packages, how to create requirements files to install packages on a remote server, that sort of stuff. So Python has a thing called a requirements.txt file, which allows you to run and install all of the packages listed in that requirements file. So that is a key skill to learn. You're going to need to understand all of the data types, so your strings, your arrays, obviously integers, that sort of stuff, and how to differentiate and what sort of built-in commands there are against each of those data types. You're going to want to be able to interact with a database, so something like MySQL or even SQLite gives you a very good grounding in that. And then as well as that, you're going to need to interact with, in the AWS's case, the Lambda library, which is Boto 3, and that allows Python to interact with the Amazon's web services API essentially through the Boto 3 package. So that is BOTO3, and that is a brilliant package. And so once you've got that and you understand that, and you can do for loops, while loops, and interact with like basic files like text files, and maybe even CSV files, you're pretty much there. So like I said, you don't need to be a fully fledged developer. You can get away with kind of functional programming knowledge, not need to go down the classes, inheritance, or the object-oriented stuff, but you do need to be a pretty good scripter. That wraps up the questions for today. I will come back with another video because I'll get hundreds and hundreds of questions on TikTok over a year or so. I've been running that channel and I haven't responded to a lot of them, so I thought I'd do a slightly longer form video here on YouTube and try to cover off more in one sitting. If you're not already, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. More content is coming soon. I'm about to move house in the next kind of 4 weeks, and then I'll have a proper office set up with my camera always set up, and I'm going to start releasing more content on a more regular basis. See you next time.